Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Last Level Press. I'm Mr. Black. Thank you for joining us for another Mod Spotlight. Tonight we are taking a look at Phoenix Point by Gary62. Now some of you may know that this is the same mod author who also created Rancho Villa, which I spotlighted not long ago as well. And up until I came across this mod, I was of the mind that Rancho Villa was Gary's best work. I can no longer in good faith say that, because I will not say that Phoenix Point is superior. However, it is every bit as good, and there's a lot of content to cover with this mod, so I'm going to try to run through it as quickly and efficiently as I can without skipping any content. So let's dive right in. Location-wise, it is up in North Vegas, so you won't be coming across this too early in the game. It is across from H&H Tools and West Side, and has its own map marker, so getting back to it will be quite easy. To gain entry, one must open the tin can over here by the gate, find the key, and head right on inside. Now you will note, when I step inside here, for one, there is a custom approach theme playing in the background, a little bit of unique music there. I will continue to talk over it to protect myself for copyright reasons. YouTube is what it is these days. But note that when I first appear in here, I'm here on this entry mat. But I can actually open this door and step outside. Because just as with Rancho Villa, and perhaps even a bit more extensively here, Gary62 has pulled off very, very impressive interior-exterior cell shenanigans within the GEC, allowing for the illusion of looking out, and even stepping out, as this front porch allows for, into the exterior space of the world. Now, very, very, very few other mod authors do that, and I don't think any other mod author does it as well or as seamlessly as Gary62 does. You may also note that there are some street lamps out there that also illuminate as, I believe, one turns on these lights, but I won't fumble with that because that's just a menial detail. But also, I will note while I'm on this topic, because it is relevant, that the same universal compatibility that Rancho Villa had with weather mods also applies here. So if you have any other weather mod on, and you look out the windows, upstairs, downstairs, outside, wherever, you will see the weather effects, like dust storms, rain, whatever, that you would ordinarily have. And I don't know of any other mod author that has that kind of universal compatibility. The only exception that I know of is that with, say, rain, you will see the lightning, you will hear the thunder, and the sky will darken, get different clouds and everything, but I don't believe you will actually see the rain falling. That's one of the only things that it doesn't allow for, but that's a very, very minor incompatibility. Anyway, getting back to the home proper, there is plenty of marked storage around. See, this here is for books and magazines. I particularly actually appreciate this box right here, the Junk for Resale box. I like to have boxes near the exits of my home so that I can just grab stuff and go and make a trip to the Gunrunners or whatever. There are also numerous static items throughout the home. You'll notice that there is no interaction reticle popping up when I look at the Leggett helm, the bumper sword, the camera, because a lot of these are truly static items. You can't interact with them in any way. They are purely for decor, and that means that whenever you and your companions are wandering about the home, you're not going to be knocking them around everywhere and creating a mess and chores for yourself to put them back where they go. Because this is very much, I will even say, a companion-centric home. Not just companion-friendly. As usual, I've brought Farsight along to demonstrate that this is fully nav-meshed and companion-friendly. But little touches like this, the sleeper sofa here, really show that this is meant for players who want to represent a courier or whatever character they're playing who has a lot of allies and likes to keep all of them at a home base that's not the Lucky 38. Now you'll also note that there are lots and lots of little interactivity points throughout this home in Gary's usual style. So there's a lot of activatable lights, the sofas, and the fireplace here, which I will note looks very, very good in evening time. Because this, like a lot of other mods that I really enjoy, is an interior space that is affected lighting-wise by the exterior time of day. So I will show this off during evening and nighttime here shortly. More little details are things like these place settings here. All four of these are unique. They are activated by these little white dots here, or little pegs, I guess I should say, at the edges of the table. They're a little hard to spot, and each of these are unique meals that respawn. So you can activate these and pull the food out. I'm going to deactivate those so that I've got a little bit less pulling on my processor and it doesn't drag down the FPS here. And two things to note about that. For one, on the subject of the processor, this is a very memory-intensive mod simply because there is so much content packed into this small space. So those with weak computers, this may not necessarily be a good mod for you because there's a lot in here and it will drag your FPS down. The other note is that because of things like the table settings here and the fact that this does give you a few free goodies, like food in the fridge, a free sniper rifle, and modifications upstairs and down, which I will get to shortly, this may not necessarily be a great mod for hardcore players, because the food here essentially negates the necessity of going and tracking down food, and the free weaponry may disrupt some people's gameplay. However, on that note, I will posit the counterpoint that this does not give you very much ammunition for said sniper rifle. So if you're at a point in the game where you're getting 308 ammunition frequently enough to have that be your go-to rifle, well, you're not really at a point in the game where it's disruptive to have it anyway. So that's all I'm going to say on that. This exterior pool space, I really, really, really like. It just feels very serene, much like the intro song, which I actually tried recording this a couple of times already. This is just kind of the mod that would not be recorded. For whatever reason, things kept going wrong. I would botch my delivery, or it would crash on me because of my own instabilities within the game, because I've got so many mods on. So if you're seeing this, this means it finally went well. But I believe I've described that entry theme as being a very serene song, and this is a very serene space, and that feels like a strange word to attach to anything set within the Fallout universe, much less the Mojave. But it fits here, and I believe it actually fits even more at night, when this really looks like a very good, relaxed space. Now, that's another little point of interactivity there. You can make it seem as though you are refilling the pool. And I will return to this when I do my night walkthrough momentarily. So for now, let's continue on with the home. To gain access to the basement/armory, there is a button behind the bar here, which I will show off very quickly for you now. And actually, before I jump down there, I'll note that the stove here does allow for all of the usual campfire cooking that is more or less a necessity for any home mod, and there are some, like I said, free goodies here in the fridge. There are kitchen lights. So, alright, let's jump downstairs. This cabinet slides back when you press that button behind the bar, allowing access to the basement. Let's turn those lights on so we can see a little better. All of the storage down here is labeled, and while the mod does not feature any sorter capabilities, Gary does make two different mod suggestions on the download page for this mod of sort of modular standalone sorter mods that you can apply to any home, not just this one, but that he kind of had in mind for if you want sorters, using those in conjunction with this. So it's kind of an optional functionality that you can have whether or not you want it, or rather if you want it or not, I should say. Personally, I don't really mind sorting my own things. It kind of helps me to remember where they all are. But for the sake of demonstration, there is the launcher, flamer, minigun, melee, SMG, assault rifle, pistol, and rifle lockers, along with all of the individual ammunition cans down here. Now, some of those I wouldn't really want to make use of. I'd probably just drop all of my excess ammunition into the grenade box if I did not have an automatic sorter, but that's just me. Over here is the unique weapons locker, as well as all of your energy weapons storage. Over here, more primer and reloading materials. Of course, all of the crafting essentials are provided. Reloading bench at present, workbench here, and I will note that these trash cans, there's a couple throughout the home, this being one of them, are the only unsafe storage throughout the home. These are specifically meant to be respawning containers so that you can drop excess junk into them, and when the container respawns, that junk will be gone, which can actually help you with decluttering some of your save files. So bear that in mind. As I mentioned before, there are a few free goodies handed to players here. Now, you'll notice that this is a free sniper rifle suppressor and carbon fiber parts modifications down here on the shelf. And there is, like I said, a sniper rifle upstairs, as well as some lights here. You will note that this is a very bright and washed out looking area right now with all these lights on. That's because I have Fallout on, and I have not yet completely optimized my E and B settings. So I will state that if you're not using Fallout, which is not required for this mod, you won't necessarily get the most out of this, because just as with Rancho Villa, there are dozens of painstaking light sources added throughout this home that you simply won't really enjoy the most from. That was a weird way of phrasing it, but whatever, without Fallout. So if you don't use it, I encourage you to do so. More light here. Now, heading upstairs is more or less the living quarters for everybody. There's a safe here into the wall. Let's turn on these hall lights here. And in here is the bathroom. You'll note that there is a sliding door here. Something that I thought was a nice little touch. Can't seem to find the activator there. There we go. Alright, so turn the HUD back off. And in here, I like how clean this space actually feels. And inside, activatable shower. Again, a lot of these interactable points serve no functional purpose. They are just there for flavor and role-playing purposes. But I like that about that. Here is the medical storage, along with a few free goodies. And no, if you're wondering, this mirror does not allow you to enter into show race menu to alter your facial hair or haircuts or anything like that. So if Gary was planning any future updates to this mod, as complete and awesome as it is, that might be one of my few suggestions. But it's by no means like a necessity. That's not a deal breaker. Just a small suggestion. Moving inside here, you'll note that this space in particular has a lot of custom assets to it. Mostly in the form of new textures for things. Like these are the usual tin lockers, but they've got kind of a canvas covering texture to them now. And Legion players, sorry, this room kind of breaks your ability to be lore friendly and stay here. But that's just a personal little preference there. You may not mind that. Yet more lights inside of this room. And I will note with this point here, pardon me, that there are a lot of good sources for natural light to actually enter these spaces and illuminate them very well. And that feels like a strange thing to say about a modded-in space. I find myself actually kind of going like HGTV Mojave mode here, because experienced Fallout players will note that this is not a recycled interior space like, say, Courier's home was. That's a base game asset that was customized on the interior to look different and unique. This is a completely new fabricated interior space. So I actually find myself wanting to analyze and critique the architectural design of the place, which is a weird thing, but I do praise it, because this actually makes a lot of good architectural sense. You do get a lot of cool things, like natural light coming in from high spaces, and even the skylight here. And the fact that it's got the chain link on it that shows it's reinforced actually makes sense, because if you have a nice home like this in the Mojave, you're going to be a paranoid motherfucker. Pardon my language. But like that was one of the issues that I took with Rancho Villa, is that the whole place just didn't really feel secure. This feels a hell of a lot more secure. So anyway, enough on that. More custom assets are up there. The Phoenix crate, as well as the little Phoenix emblem there on that crate. I actually really like that. It looks kind of like a clever tattoo design sort of thing. And as much as this does have a somewhat tribal feel to it in some places with some of this decor, this does not have any requirements. You don't need Lonesome Road. You don't need Honest Hearts. If you've got base game in this download, you are good to go. Now, my only other point of criticism for this mod is this piece of decor right here. Obviously, this is a piece that is sourced from the bobblehead stand in the base game assets, but it does not function as such. It's just got this little globe on it. And I'm not sure why that oversight might have been there. I don't want to seem arrogant about it, but it seems like if so much of this could have been pulled off by Gary, that adding in a functional bobblehead stand would have been very trivial. So that may have been a conscious decision on his part to not have it be a functional bobblehead stand. I just don't quite get why that is. So again, if there's any future updates planned for this mod, that might be a suggestion of mine. Now, moving in here into the bedroom space, this is actually one of my favorite little points of interactivity. It's just my own personal taste, but I'm going to geek out for a moment and show you anyway. The solitaire set actually moves from the shelf onto the table, as though you've been playing. I really like that. The oil lamp up here can also be set out, and that looks really good at night. So I'm going to leave that there for when I run through here in a bit for the nighttime run. These windows, just like downstairs, allow you to look out into the exterior space. And I like this fireplace just as much, actually, as I do the downstairs fireplace, because this looks really, really natural. In evening time, especially, when you get that soft, warm light, I can just feel the warmth sitting down. I just want to grab that book, grab a chair, and enjoy an evening here. And that's an awesome feeling to have about a piece of modded-in content. Now, on the subject of that book, I found you, Gary. For those not quite as familiar with this mod author, the illustration on the cover of that book is the same one that Gary62 uses as his Nexus Forums avatar image. So that was a nice little bit of self-insertion there into the mod. So just wanted to let you know, Gary, I found you. Another window looking outside. And this is the rifle cabinet that I mentioned before that offers the free sniper rifle in full repair, as well as 12 rounds. But again, I don't really mind that, because by the time you're going to be using it, it's by the time you're actually getting enough ammunition for it organically anyway. That little thing also cues a funny little bit from me. My girlfriend shops a lot at the Container Store. I know. But I feel like we owned that box, which is a good thing to say, because that means it looks very natural. It looks recognizable. So a lot of praise for that. That more or less covers the bedroom. And I believe that covers just about the entirety of the home. So for the sake of being concise, I'm going to fast forward now to an evening time. So very quickly, note the differences in lighting. This is actually the time of day, evening and morning, I think, when this mod really, really shines. Because the lighting really starts to come together and feel very warm and comfortable and welcoming. So, now that that's done, let's fast forward to nighttime. 11 o'clock should be good and dark. Again, if you're not using this with Fallout, you don't have to. It is not a requirement. However, I highly encourage you to do so, because you won't really get the full effect of all of these great lighting effects if you don't have that, or something like that. This space in particular actually feels a lot like a Fallout 3 sort of space because of all this green light. So to conclude, I will head upstairs, but not before noting how natural does that look now that it's dark. I just really, really adore the fire effects here. I'm going to risk my FPS by turning on a few more lights. Can you or can you not picture, pardon me, a bunch of grizzled wastelanders sitting down at this table playing poker? I just love what he's done with the lighting and atmosphere here. So that's Phoenix Point, everyone. This is definitely a mod that has earned its place in my load order. This is not going to be one of those that I download, I spotlight, and I uninstall. This has earned a permanent place in my load order because I'm going to make use of it. I enjoy it so, so much. So Gary62, thank you for putting such great artistry into your work. I really want to explore more of what you've created. I understand that Gary has actually done a few Skyrim mods, which we may well touch on, because myself and Violeta have both been wanting to get back into Skyrim lately, so you guys can look forward to seeing some Skyrim mod spotlights in the very near future. Other than that, thank you all for joining us here at Last Level Press for this mod spotlight and those to come, and I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.